Hello and welcome in to Full 10 Yards Betting Podcast. I'm Liam, your host, and as always, I'm joined by the man who is actually making you money now if you follow his picks. I said that at the start of the year, and it wasn't quite true, but he is now actually making you money. That is Mr. Adam Walford, aka Touchdown Tips. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, as you say, it's been a nice few weeks. I'm 10 out of 12 over the last 3 weeks. So yeah, after the start I had, it's nice to be back on top. And yeah, everything else going pretty well, betting wise. I had quite a few people follow me on my both players to score Trixie this week, which nearly came in for all six of them. Got 5 out of 6, and it was 200 quid back off a tenner. So I had quite a few nice messages on Twitter, which was good. So yeah, I'll try and put one up this week as well.
Yeah, I feel like I let you down there because I think I got Bobo in your head after our podcast, and then he was the one who he was the one who let you down. So my bad streak continues between Trixie's and last week. Unfortunately for the whole group, we went 6 of 12 last week, most of which is my doing. As I went 1 of 4, Tim went 2 of 4, and like you said, Adam went 3 of 4. So yeah, if you do only follow one person's bet from this episode, make sure it's Adam's, not mine and Tim's. But hopefully we all get back on the winning side of things when it comes to this week. I think there's some better games this week. I know last week ended up being really entertaining after us saying there wasn't many great games, but on paper there's some really good games this week. So I'm hoping it'll be fun for us all to watch on Red Zone, and hopefully we can win some bets as well. But yeah, let's start where we always start, which is game of the week. I think we probably had two we were debating between because of an injury, but Jordan Love is being declared fit, it looks like. He practiced today. So we've gone with the Lions at Packers. Lions are favoured on the road by 2.5, and the under-over is 47.5. What are your general thoughts, mate, on this game as a whole? Pretty exciting one for the NFC, but to be honest, the division's still at play if the Packers can somehow try and win the game.
Yeah, obviously NFC North is always quite tightly fought. The Packers historically have been the kings of it. I do think it is now the Lions who the kings of it. I do think that they are the best team in the NFC North and probably in the NFC, maybe even in the NFL. I know that I think the Ringer power rankings that you posted up in the week, I think they had the Lions top, and I've seen a few others with the Lions top. They're just a juggernaut at the moment. Obviously, last week was a very strange one with the amount of return yards from Khalif Raymond. So they're even winning on special teams as well as on the run, as well as with the passing game. They even had David Montgomery throw a touchdown there. They're just seem unstoppable at the moment. Admittedly, this is the hardest challenge they've had for a few weeks. So it will be interesting to see exactly where they are. But I just think the Lions they're a very fun team to watch, and it's really nice to see them doing well, frankly. The other side of things, obviously, Jordan Love's health is the issue there. He obviously did it, week 2 did it originally, and I'm assuming it's an aggravation of that.
No, he did his knee, I think, in week 1, and then this is a groin injury now, so it's a separate injury to the same leg, which is a worry. It seems like it's going to be fine for Sunday, like I said, but his injuries do seem to have derailed the team a little bit because they're still playing really well and they're up there with a chance to win the division and be in the playoffs. But he's definitely seemed to have slowed their progress down because even last week they nearly lost that game, with him getting injured.
Yeah. So obviously they've got the players around them. They've got a decent trio of wide receivers. They've got a good running back. They've got a good defense. So they've got enough to be a good team. I just don't think they've got enough to beat the Lions, frankly.
Yeah, I do actually think this game will be quite fun. And I do really like Jordan Love, but it's so hard to know what this game is going to look like with his injuries. But yeah, if he's 90% himself, then I think they've got a great chance of winning the game just because I think he can keep up with the opposing quarterback. But if he's limited and he's kind of in and out or he's struggling to move around, it's just not the team you want to be trying to keep up with because the Lions scored, 52 points when Jared Goff had under 100 yards passing last week. So they're not the team you want to keep up with if your offense has a couple of injuries and starts to struggle. But I do think this will be a fun game. That's why we chose it for game of the week. So I'm hoping it'll be a good game. Cool. On to best bets. Let's start with the man who maybe thinks it isn't going to be a great game with the bet he's gone. That's Tim. He's gone for under 48.5, which again, unless Adam's got any reasoning, I did not get any reasoning. Did you?
Not really. I guess he was thinking that Love would be out. I don't know. Yeah. But even then, Willis won his games in when he started. So And I think Willis is capable of putting up points still if they know they've got a plan for him. But yeah, the Lions have scored 52, 31, 47, 42 over the last 4 games. So I do not know why picked under 48.5.
Yeah, I assume it is the injury. But yeah, I'm not going to say that I would bet the under. Like I said in the intro, it is 47.5 now as well. So maybe some people have actually bet on the under because the line has moved. At least on Sky and Virgin Bet is now 47.5. So make sure you shop around for the best odds. But I assume this is more of a Packers bet for Tim. And then I guess the fact that maybe he thinks the Packers defense can slow the Lions down a little bit as well. But yeah, he's gone for under 48.5. If you can find 48.5 anywhere. So yeah. But yeah, we don't want to just besmirch our fearless leader, but we don't agree with that pick. But we'll see if he can get the win. Now I've got a bet that also has changed odds. So on the sheet here is Packers plus 3.5. I would still try and find 3.5 if you could find it at reasonable odds, or if it moves on Saturday or Sunday morning. But like I said, it is 2.5 now. I still would probably bet it at 2.5. But 3.5 is really my selection. If you can't find 3.5 anywhere, I quite like the Lions over on the total. Their total is 23.5 or 24.5, depending on where you look. And yeah, I would bet over that if the line's 2.5 for the Packers, just because I do think you want the field goal hook if you're betting on the Packers. But yeah, I do think they've got a good chance to win if Jordan Love plays the whole game. He did practice today, like I said earlier. So I really like the Packers team, but I think similar to the Rams, maybe it's a team that I've got a little bit of a soft spot for. So there might be some bias there, but yeah, I think they can definitely keep up with them if Jordan Love's going to play. But it all kind of relies on his health. So see how he goes tomorrow at practice, and then make your bets after that, I would say. But yeah, 3.5 you can get it, but if not, I do like the 23.5 or 24.5 over for the Lions team total. What selection did you go for? Because I think you've got another one you like as well, apart from your best bet.
Yeah, I've gone. Well, my best bet for this one is David Montgomery. To score a touchdown. He was 4-5 when I put it on. He's now actually 5-6. So jumped up that tiny little bit, 0.03 of a percentage point. So yeah, he's gone up a tiny bit. So yeah, he scores every week. So it's as simple as that. Frankly, is why bet against him when he does that? So, and yeah, 5-6 is near enough even for me to take him. So yeah, why not? I did have a quick look at Khalif Raymond at 10-3. If you do get places that pay for a kickoff return, I'm not entirely sure people do anymore. I had one on Charlie Jones the other week and I got settled as a loser on Sky Bet, so I'm not entirely sure you get any time for kickoff now, but if you do, then Khalif Raymond obviously helps, and then he's filling in for Jameson Williams, and he unfortunately didn't get much in the actual game last week because he did it all on special teams, so you got to expect the Packers to be a little better there, and then they might have to use him in the actual passing game. But yeah, 10-3 isn't bad. It's probably a touch short for what I would have wanted for him, but he's obviously capable.
Yeah, they should have to pass the ball a lot more in this game than they did in the game previous to score 52 points. Packers defense has not been as good as I would have hoped in the season, but they've had 3 or 4 really good games. They're a little bit up and down, but they have been quite good against the run. So that probably helps with Khalif Raymond as well when it comes to getting the yardage. They might have to throw it a little bit more in this game. And then the Lions are going to run it down in the red zone for Montgomery as well. So I think that's a good selection. What was the other one you liked? Was it Gibbs?
No, I think it was just Monty this week, I think.
Okay. The sheet says Gibbs 10 plus rushing yards in each quarter.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I did forget about that one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So Paddy Power had a special on Jahmyr Gibbs with 10 rush yards in each quarter. I thought that was quite fair at 10-3. I thought that was decent odds because probably maybe 2 runs each quarter for him, and they have a drive each generally. So yeah, I didn't mind that one. I thought it was an interesting one. Will say though, something we probably should mention is Jared Goff outside. It's one of the few games he has outside.
Yeah.
So we will see if he's any good, frankly.
That helps both your bets being outside with Montgomery and Gibbs being mentioned. So that does help your bet. Probably helps mine as well, actually, with the Packers plus the points. But you're right. This is one of 2 games, I think, all season that he's not in a dome. So we'll see if the small hand fumbles still happen. He was also out of practice yesterday because he rolled his ankle, but I was told that he was due to practice again today. I haven't seen if he has or not, but that was the rumor that he was going to practice today and just take a day off yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah, we have definite rain showers through the entire game as well, apparently.
There we go. This is only helping my resolve of +3.5. Might actually help Tim's under as well. So there we go. It's all coming together.
Maybe that's what Tim was looking at. He knew the weather.
He knew the weather. He's the weatherman. But yeah, that's our selections for game of the week. I'll put them on the screen again. So Tim under 48.5. I've gone for Packers +3.5. If Love plays again, I would go 2.5 as well, but yeah, I prefer a 3.5. And Adam's gone for Montgomery to score like he does in every week, basically for the Detroit Lions since he's been there. Cool. Let's move off game of the week then and get into our spreads. They're on the ticker at the bottom of the screen for anyone that is watching. I'll go first just because of when this game is. I've gone for tonight's game. We don't normally talk about Thursday as much anymore. But I have gone for tonight's game. It was 1.5. The line was the Texans. When I was doing my prep for the podcast, I noticed that it moved to 2.5, which I assume maybe is because of Stephon Diggs' injury being confirmed and people have now backed the Jets. But yeah, it is Texans versus the Jets. It is in New York. But yeah, I'm still surprised the Jets are favoured, to be honest, for this game. It is a game they have to win. I don't think it means as much to the Texans with their division lead, so I can understand why people would think this is a letdown spot for the Texans. But yeah, I'm just not really having the Jets at the moment. The defense has been all over the place since Salah left, and then the defensive coordinator had to stop calling plays and become the head coach. The defense has just gotten worse, to be honest. And Aaron Rodgers played okay last week, but the offensive line is getting worse. And it feels like the run game as well is not the same as it was last season. So, yeah, I just think the Texans should be probably 1.5, 2-point favorites, and they're underdogs. So I just think I have to take the better team with the points. There's not many games this year where I'm just going to look at it straight away and go the better team's getting points. So yeah, I've gone for the Texans. Any thoughts on that one? Obviously, I know Diggs is injured and Collins is out, but I still think that offense should have enough to score with CJ Stroud.
Yeah, they've been quite run heavy anyway. Obviously, Joe Mixon's been getting a lot of the ball. You've had games where CJ Stroud's been under 100 yards as well. So yeah. It will hurt them, of course it will. It is plus 2 injuries at wide receiver, which isn't great for them. And they don't have much behind Tank Dell at the moment. So I can see why it's dropped down by like that, but it's the Jets, the 2-6 Jets with their quarterbacks throwing game-losing interceptions every week. So yeah, I'd be taking, if I had to, I'd be taking the Texans on the road. But again, it's a Thursday night. I generally don't like taking road teams on Thursday nights anyway. But you're right, the best team is not favoured. This is suggesting that they're only like a point better than the Jets. I don't agree with that. So yeah, I think you're on the right side of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Thursday is a worry. If this was 9:25 on Sunday, I'd feel even more confident, to be honest. But yeah, the travel is an element. But yeah, we'll see tonight. I do think it could be quite a fun game. So I do think the Jets are going to have to be fighting for that life. So I do think we could see some stupidity on either side tonight. But I'm still going to go with the Texans. What was your best spread of this week?
I've gone for the Bills -6 hosting the Dolphins. Pretty easy one. Are the Bills a good team? Yes. Then the Dolphins going to lose. So yeah, that was essentially the handicap. And then I did a little bit more research, and 2016 was the last time the Dolphins beat the Bills in Orchard Park. Is it? I think that's it. New Era Stadium or whatever it is. So yeah, 2016. So 8 years ago on Christmas Eve was the last time they won in Buffalo, and the last time they've beaten them at all is 2022. So again, a couple of years. Yeah, and Tua obviously back last week. Tua and Tyreek are very good together. However, the Dolphins don't seem to know how to beat the Bills, and the Bills have got their number. So yeah, it was a fairly easy one for me. It was under a touchdown. The Bills have been beating up on worse teams than them all year, and I figured that was where we're going this weekend.
Yeah, you can get 5.5 as well in certain places, so that's even better in case you get done with they go for a 2-point conversion if they're down 8, do you know what I mean, or something like that. So yeah, I'm with you, but this is one of my favorite ones as well. Josh Allen historically always plays really well against the Dolphins, which I know sounds like an obvious thing when they always win, but sometimes it can just be the defense with Sean McDermott. But Josh Allen always plays well against the Dolphins. So I think this is definitely one you're on the right side of. The total was weird in that game. I know we'll talk about totals later, but I think they put it up. It was like 44.5 2 weeks ago. And when they said Tua was coming back anyway, it's now 48. We got to 48.5. Now it's at 49.5. So everyone thinks it's going to be a shootout, but I'm a little bit. I wouldn't surprise me if the Bills just won like 23-6 in this game or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like. I don't know why I feel like that. I just feel like maybe last week against a really bad Cardinals defense, the offense didn't still look great with Tua being back, but we'll see. But yeah, I do think you're on the right side of it with that line. They should win this game and basically sewn up the division then if they win this game, which is important for the Bills. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. Tim has chosen the Falcons -2.5. This was another one that was on my list. Of course, Tim chosen this. They are playing the Dallas Cowboys, which is Tim's team, as everyone knows. I did look at this one because I was so disappointed in how my guy Dak played against the 49ers. It was a very typical Dallas v 49ers game where they hang with them for like a quarter and a half and they just get absolutely obliterated in like 3 consecutive drives. So I assume this is a purely anti-Cowboys bet from Tim. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, that was what I was going to say on this one. We know why Tim picked this one, and he's probably correct, to be fair. Kirk Cousins has got that offense running well for the most part, and the Dallas defense I don't think has got that much about it to be able to slow them down. Again, this is suggesting that they're even teams, and look at the records. They're not even teams. The Falcons are the better team in this one, and yeah, I think it's definitely the way I'd go if I was betting that one.
Yeah, I feel like this game could be messy to watch there. So it's when you're betting on, and maybe you don't want to sit there and watch it all because anything could happen. Could be a Kirk Cousins pick 6 or something that loses you the bet in this game. But I could see where Tim's coming from. The Falcons' offense is pretty good, and the Cowboys' defense has not been good with Micah and the rest of that line quite injured. So yeah, we'll see. I feel like Tim might just pick against the Cowboys most weeks going forward. That's a trend we can watch on the picks.
Yeah.
Cool. That was our 3 spreads. Any others that you liked at all, mate, that we haven't spoken about that you want to mention?
Famous Jameis, isn't it? I was surprised that when I realised that they were a home underdogs, I was surprised. I thought it was the Browns away at the Chargers, but the Browns are hosting the Chargers as 1.5 point underdogs, and we saw Jameis Winston did pretty well last week. The Chargers are a decent defense, I'll give them that, but they're not a great offense. Not a great point scoring offense. So I'd be taking the Browns getting points there. And yeah, that was about it. I'd probably lean to the Raiders beating against the Bengals +7, just because we're not playing very well at the moment. Commanders -4 against the Giants, I thought was I'd be on the Commanders side of that. I listened to the Even Money podcast earlier, the Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik one, and they were both on the Giants, but I can't go on the Giants on that one. So I'd be probably taking Commanders.
Yeah, that was one of mine that I hadn't chosen. That we hadn't chosen that I thought was a good bet. Again, 3.5 in certain places as well. So I just think, if you can get 3 or 3.5, it's a really good bet. I know, Jalen is still injured and he wasn't throwing it quite the same last week, but then he does throw it like the length of the field, which was quite exciting at the end of the game. Yeah. So I'm with you. I think the Commanders is a good bet on that one. To sound like a caricature of ourselves, the Rams +1.5. I love the Rams +1.5, but I couldn't put it as my best bet because I think I've just picked the Rams too many times this season. Seahawks without DK Metcalf, it looks like the Rams are going to have Kyren Williams, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, and Puka Nacua. When those 3 are on the field, they have the second greatest offense by EPA ever in the history of the NFL. So, will they stay on the field? I'm not sure, but they're on the field to start this game. So that's a good start, I think, when you're betting the Rams. So yeah, I actually do quite like the Rams +1.5.
Minus now.
Minus what?
Rams -1.5 now. I don't know if they were plus, but they're faved now.
On Sky Bet, they're still underdogs. So if anyone's listening now and you like that bet it on Sky Bet now before it changes.
I go with 365 scores, and they're -1.5 on there.
There we go. Can we middle it and get a draw? Who knows? We'll find out. But yeah, that's the only other ones I liked. I wouldn't. There's not many other games I think this week. There's a few 0.5s over the hooks that are just not worth it for this week. Cool. Onto totals then. Why don't you go first? Tell us which total you like the best for week 9, which sounds crazy to say.
Yeah, potentially the worst game on the slate, but it's a low total. It's Patriots at Titans. It's 38 point total. Obviously Drake May playing would be helpful. But Titans games, although they have been fairly inept on offense, they've been high scoring in general. Again, if Drake May plays, then the Patriots should be able to put up 20. And I think the Titans have got a decent enough run game to be able to put up 20. So that's all I need, really. So I just thought that was a fairly low total. I was tempted by Chargers and Browns for over 43 again because of James Winston. They're a different team with him in there. But yeah, I went with the lower one and went with Patriots at Titans.
Yeah, I'd feel better if Drake May plays, and I think the head coach said today that they're quite hopeful of his availability for the weekend. So maybe he's going to get out of the protocol in time. But yeah, either way, I think we bet a lot of over on 30-odd point totals this season. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. But I think if May plays, you've got a really good chance. I think if they confirm he's playing, that line could get up to 39, 40-ish, to be honest. So yeah, I think getting it now at whatever it is, 36, 37, 38, depending where you shop, then I think it's a good one to get. Yeah, and you're right. Will Levis, though, was throwing. Looks like he's back in practice. Do you feel more confident because the Patriots might score a touchdown off him, or do you feel less confident because he might score less points for the Titans?
That's a good question. Yeah, they're probably more short field to the Patriots, but and he can throw it far, but he's been it's a competition between him and Anthony Richardson for the worst quarterback this year, I think. Obviously, other than Bryce Young, but he doesn't really count. But yeah, between those two, it's been a think off, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. Will Levis might throw you a 70-yard touchdown and then throw a 30-yard pick six, which could help your bet. Yeah. So he probably is, I would say, better than Mason Rudolph playing, I think, when it comes to the over. But yeah, I think that's a good bet. Tim's gone for under 47 in the Broncos and the Ravens game. Denver have got one of the best defenses in the league. I think they're first in EPA per play and like fifth in DVOA because they've had a really easy strength of schedule. But their defense is really good. The Ravens' pass defense is pretty bad. It's 29th in the league, but it's against Bo Nix. So I assume that's Tim's thinking is that Denver won't be able to run the ball, and then Denver's defense is pretty good. So yeah, I don't hate this under because I really don't like Bo Nix, but it would not shock me if the Ravens scored like 33 points in this game somehow. They're very up and down. They beat the teams that people think the game's going to be tough, and then when it's the easier games, they somehow end up losing those. So yeah, I do think the under is the better side. I just think it's going to be a bit of a weird game, that game, I think.
Yeah, I'd be leaning the other way on that one just because, as you said, the Ravens' defense is terrible. There was stuff today about Lamar being out of practice. I think with back and knee, I guess, from carrying that team. But yeah, I'd imagine he'll be fine. I think that was just kind of just reports and just news, but no worry behind it, essentially. So I think he'll be right for the weekend. But again, I'd probably still lean over just because I've seen the Broncos put up points. And Bo Nix, we've seen throw interceptions as well. So again, you've got chances both ways on that one. But yeah, that was one I would stay away from just because I think the Ravens' defense, being a pass funnel, is so bad that there's a good chance that either team could do 25-30.
Yeah, agreed. And then my selection, I've gone for an over. I've gone for Eagles versus the Jags. So the Jags are going to Philly. I think that's Doug Peterson's first return since he won the Super Bowl. I've gone for over 46 is the line now. Yeah, Jags have scored. So even when people, they're losing some of these games, Jags have scored 37, 17, 32, 27 in their last 4 games. And Trevor Lawrence has been like top 10 in like EPA and success rate in those 4 games. So he's playing a little bit better. The team is still a complete mess. But the offense should be able to get me 20 points against the Eagles because the Eagles' defense isn't great either. They've also had a little bit of set of injuries. I think Darius Slay as well might play this week, but he came off last week with another injury. So I think the Jags will be able to score points against the Eagles. And we'll see about the Eagles. Jalen Hurts has played well the last couple of weeks. AJ Brown seems to make a hell of a difference. They've kind of gone back to their run, chuck it 50-yard offense. They're not complicating it. They're kind of playing simple, and they again have been at least scoring touchdowns when they get in the red zone. So for me, I think this game should get into the 50s. I don't really like either team's defense, and I think both offenses can put up points. I just need the Jags not to be stupid in the red zone and have fumbles and picks. And I think that I get this over, because I'd be surprised if the Eagles don't score 24 at bare minimum, but I think it'd probably be higher than that against the Jags.
Yeah, I think it could be similar to last week against the Bengals at 34-17, 34-21 kind of thing. So yeah, again, it's the way I'd lean on this. So yeah, good luck.
Fingers crossed. Any other totals that you liked? I thought your total was interesting. 46.5 Bengals Raiders. I was surprised to see the Raiders game with the total that high.
Yeah, and the Bengals, the way they've been this year, it could easily be 20-10. So yeah, I think you're right. I'd probably be leaning under it. Yeah, the Raiders and the Cardinals are really difficult for me to pick anything on them, spreads or totals. I don't really get either team, frankly, this year, and I can't pick them each week. So yeah, I would lean under on that one, but it's yeah, who knows.
Well, it's funny. Over 44.5 Cardinals Bears was the other one. The other one I was thinking about. You are right. They are very up and down, the Cardinals, at the moment. And the Bears offense, like we said, against a good team last week, did flatter to deceive a little bit. But I do feel like Cardinals defense is pretty bad. So I think the Bears will get into the 20s. And then I think Kyler Murray and that offense are playing really well. So yeah, I think over 44.5 for me was one in that game. But yeah, there wasn't many others apart from that I really liked. Was there any others that you liked at all?
No, not really. I'm all good on totals. Thank you.
Cool. All right, let's talk about touchdown scorers then. Just the thing that I cannot get right, so I'm just going to go first to get mine out of the way. Now, I nearly changed to Kyron Williams, and I've decided we're sticking with my original guns because I'm wearing a DeAndre Hopkins hoodie provided by Mugs NFL. By the way, anyone on Twitter wants to get an NFL item, go to Mugs NFL. You can mention my name. You might be able to get a little cheeky bit of discount off Patrick. Who knows? But yeah, I've gone for DeAndre Hopkins to score again. He was only on the field for 2 passing plays in the red zone, and he was wide open for both of them. The Chiefs scored touchdown on both of them, just not to him, to Travis Kelce on one of them, unfortunately, right next to him. And then the other one was an RPO. So, yeah, Hopkins played really well last week. I think he played 23 snaps. Again, he missed everything apart from the kind of 4th down and red zone day for practice. This week, he's going to be there for the whole week. He was open a lot last week, so yeah, I'm kind of going back to the well and hoping that he scores me a touchdown. And now if Travis Kelce does score a touchdown again, I am just going to pick DeAndre Hopkins every week. So Travis Kelce keeps scoring and sacrifice my pick. But we'll see. The Bucs as well were like 26th against wide receivers in the red zone. They were 28th against wide receivers in general in terms of yards. So yeah, they are not playing very well defensively either, the Buccaneers. So I just think, this is a good week for DeAndre Hopkins, but it's probably going to be a good week for Travis Kelce as well, which will frustrate me on the betting front. But yeah, there we go. Who have you picked for your touchdown?
I've gone for someone who seems to be improving in his rookie season. He's started off quite slow and killed me in a little bit of few fantasy games early on, but he has been getting targeted more recently. And with Amari Cooper in there now, it seems like he's being freed up a little bit more. It's Keon Coleman for the Buffalo Bills. You can get 2-1 on him. He scored 3 times this season. He had 7 targets last week. He had 7 the week before, and near enough 200 yards in those games. So he's definitely been improving, and I guess earning the trust of Josh Allen. And frankly, I don't care for the Dolphins defense. I've seen Jalen Ramsey got burnt by a rookie wide receiver last week for a touchdown, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. I don't think that they're as good as they used to be. So yeah, I think he's going to be able to get free, and at 2-1, I thought I'll push my luck a little bit after a couple of good weeks.
Yeah, I quite like that as well. He's a big body target for the red zone as well. I think he nearly scored a touchdown the week before, but then they had he had a holding call the week before as well. So he's definitely a guy that they're throwing the ball a lot to in the red zone. So I think that's a good pick. And if you combine if you combine our picks, you're basically 6-1 on Sky Bet. Nice. So there we go. You won't win that because I'll lose it, but there we go. If you did combine our two, it's 6-1.
Yeah. And Tim's gone some fairly decent odds as well.
Yeah, Tim's gone for Darnell Mooney in that game with the Cowboys. There is an anti-Cowboys agenda happening from Tim's selections, so you can tell he's annoyed after last week. But Darnell Mooney, we spoke about it earlier in the season. He is almost like their second go-to guy in the offense. I know Pitts played well last week, but Darnell Mooney gets a lot of targets. Cowboys have not been good against wide receivers in the red zone. I think they activated Deron Bland from IR yesterday, but I don't know if he's going to play in this game. But yeah, they've been really bad against wide receivers in the red zone. They've been like 5th bottom in the league. So yeah, I think that's probably why he's gone for Mooney, and Mooney just gets a lot of targets. And I think if you're the Cowboys, you probably want to double Drake London. And in theory, that means Darnell Mooney can get a bit more space. So yeah, I think that's a good shout because he does get a hell of a lot of targets for someone that's 2-1. And if you combine those two selections, Keon Coleman and Darnell Mooney, I think that's 5.5-1 on Sky Bet, which is more likely with my success rate at touchdowns. So there we go. You might be able to get that. Were there any other players that you wanted to mention? Obviously, Kyron Williams again for me scores a touchdown every week. I'll be putting him in my accumulators. Seahawks are very bad against running backs as well. But are there any other names for you?
You can get even money on Joe Mixon tonight on Sky Bet. I saw that as their boost. Up from 4-6. He scored again. He scored every game he started this year. But again, you're not going to go rich doing that. Kyron Williams wanted to, but it's about as short a thing as you're going to get. So yeah, that's definitely one. I did look at David Njoku again just because Jameis Winston loves him. Him and Mark Andrews bought home a 14-1 boost. Both players to score bet for me last week, so that was nice. But he's Njoku 13-5 is the best you're going to get on him. But Paddy Power, again, he's scored both weeks that Jameis has played, and he does like him, so it's one I'll be looking at most weeks.
Nice. Yeah, looking at tonight's game as well, you've got those two wide receivers are down, so you've got Tank Dell at 7-4, which is fine. But Xavier Hutchinson, the backup, who not a lot of people would know, he's 3-1 on Sky Bet. Now, Sky Bet are kind of known for having not the best odds, so you'll probably get 4 or 5-1 elsewhere. Xavier Hutchinson has played a lot of third downs as Nico Collins has been out. Now you've got no Diggs. He's probably going to play a lot of first and second downs. And CJ Stroud throws to him a lot on third down, so you think he trusts him. So I quite like that if you can get it. It's 3-1 on Sky, like I said, but I bet you it's 4 or 5 if you shop around and look elsewhere. And then you've got John Mechie as well, but not as keen on him, to be honest. But
Xavier Hutchinson, 5-1, as you said. Paddy Power, bet fair. Yeah. I was going to say, Paddy Power normally seems to be the best price nowadays.
Yeah, I do like that, to be honest, because I do think Sauce Gardner will probably follow Tank Dell. So I do think you're going to want like a Xavier Hutchinson. I know you got Dalton Schultz there, and we picked some tight ends in the past, but yeah, between Schultz and Hutchinson, I think Schultz is a lot shorter odds, 7-2. Hutchinson 5-1. So yeah, I like those tonight for the Texans as well. If you want to bet on Thursday night football.
I might go for backup. Might go for backup running back. Bit of Braylon Allen and Dare Ogunbowale is 39-1 for both of them. I might go for something stupid like that with my 3-10 on Paddy Power.
We got backup tight end Cade Stover like 12-1 as well, which is a very 4-10 yards betting pick. But I am going to officially suggest Hutchinson over him. But yeah, if someone wins a 12-1 shot on Cade Stover, that'd be quite fun. But yeah, we'll see. Any other lines or as in like rushing or passing or receiving lines or touchdowns you've looked at, or is that it?
No, I've not got player props this week. I've had a busy week with family staying over, so it's been a bit of a crazy one. But I will definitely put some up Sunday morning.
Cool. And watch out for the next Trixie that Adam puts out, because that might win everyone some cash over the weekend. Cool. Let's go over the best bets again for this week. So in terms of the spread, Tim's gone for the Falcons -2.5 against the Cowboys. I've gone for the Texans +2.5 tonight against the Jets, and Adam's gone for the Bills -6 against the Dolphins on Sunday. For totals, Tim's gone under 47 in the Ravens-Broncos game. I've gone for over 45.5/46 now in the Eagles-Jags game. and Adam's gone for over 38 in the Patriots-Titans game. Then touchdown scorers, we've gone for Donnell Mooney and Keon Coleman, both at 2-1 for Tim and Adam. And I've gone for Nuke, which is quite cool on this graphic. Hopkins at 7-4 in the Chiefs game, which is on Monday Night Football. So if you put it in the accumulator, don't blame me if you wait all weekend and then it lets you down on Monday night. But that's our best bets. I'm quietly confident looking at those now, mate. Don't know if that's a worry or not, but I am quietly confident.
Yeah, and then people can cash out Sunday night if they don't want to bother waiting for your one anyway.
True, yeah. There's always that option. There's always that option. Cool. That's been it for this week's podcast. We'll be back again next week for week 10, which is crazy to say. Remember to go follow us as well at Full 10 Yards on Twitter/X. Please follow Adam at Touchdown Tips as well. You can get his picks that he puts out over the weekend. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, because it does help us out. And remember as well to please gamble responsibly and make sure you win plenty of cash, as Tim would say. So thanks for listening, everyone. We will speak to you soon.